You see the red light?
Oh, I see the red light.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, my name is Major Greg Arabian. I'm discharged from the honorably discharged the United States Air Force, and I am the director of the Oral History Project of Post 41, Corporal Paul S. Marsubian Post in Watertown, Massachusetts. The date is Wednesday.
9/10/03.
Right. September 10, 2003.
Yeah.
And today we're taking an oral history of one of our ANVET comrades, Colonel Joseph M. Bazarian. Is that right, Joe?
That's right.
Okay. Joe, you have a long history here of being a veteran of World War II in Korea.
Yeah,
Is that right?
that's right.
And what I want to do is just kind of jog your memory and give you a freewheeling freedom to talk as much as you want with regard to your experiences.
Yeah.
First of all, when did you first go into the service?
In 1943.
And when did you get out?
I got out right after World War II, was in the reserves,
And that would be in 19...
46.
And you went back?
When I was in the reserves, they were going to call me back in Korea, and I didn't want to go back in the Navy. I had to get released and went into the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay. Just hold on just a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask from here. So, you got a release from the...
The Marine Corps got a release for me to go in the Marines.
Okay. Very good. And that was when?
Back in 1951,
Okay.
1950. And to make a better story a little bit longer, I got out of 53 in Korea. And in combat in Korea with the 5th Battalion, 1st Marine Division, engaged in so many battles, especially up at Horseshoe, going way up in North Korea. And the last time I got whacked is with a mortar shell with my men, and I woke up in the U.S. Naval Hospital in Yokosuka, Japan.
Really?
And when I came to, there was a Japanese nurse there. I didn't know that she was working for our government at the Naval Hospital. I was ready to attack her, thinking I was a POW, not realizing what I had gone through. I was taken off a mountain in Honshu there and helicoptered out to Yokosuka Naval Hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, let's see if we can do this in a chronological way.
Go ahead.
Let's go back to World War II.
World War II, when I went into the Navy and put my boot time in, my service time, went out to California after my training was over, and was designated for the carrier Bonham Richard, named after John Paul Jones, CV-31. And I never seen a carrier so big as that was, Essex type carrier. And I was looking up there, must have been high tide, and I went aboard ship, and 3 days later we moved out to join the combat fleet in Pearl Harbor, and I was designated to go down the engine room. And when I went down the engine room, I never realized that I could squeeze through the small manhole at that time as a young man. And when I went down there, I was pretty seasick at the time. And I was supposed to take generator watches and condensers, not knowing anything about machinery. But it didn't take me long to learn how to run a generator and keep an eye on the condenser, the water flow of the condenser and everything else. And it was a great training, and I loved every bit of it. And while we were locked down there with the Marine Corps guard up on the hatch, if we ever got hit by the kamikaze planes, we had to wait orders from our commander to abandon ship, but we were fortunate enough we never got hit.
Mm-hmm. So you did mostly on-the-job training with regard to the carrier.
Well, not too much. It didn't take me long to learn what I had to go through. I had to as we pull into Pearl Harbor to refuel and get more ammo aboard our carrier. And it just took so less time to know how to run an engine room, which amazed my chief and lieutenant very much. And the word I got was, okay, Joe, you ready to start the engines? I was ready to start. And as soon as they supplied the steam to the generator and everything, I had to open up the throttle there, the wheel there, and when you bring it back slowly and let it come in, and then when you hear the bang, that meant that the generator was taken over, and you spun it back fast like that there, and then you'd open up slowly and let the generator take command.
And this generator, what does it do?
The power, we had
gives
4 engine rooms.
4 engine rooms?
Yeah, and mine was one of them.
How were these generators powered? By steam?
Steam.
And, of course, the steam was generated by
The
engines?
boiler room.
Boiler room,
Yeah.
I see. And how many, did you have, what was the propulsion on how did the propulsion work on the aircraft carrier?
Well, the propulsion worked on a carrier was when you had four engine rooms going with the power, that generated all the power to all the equipment aboard the carrier. And that took care of that problem. And there was, when we were in the Battle of the Philippines, going up towards the Battle of the Philippines, there's where the engagement really began. The engagement began.
How was the thrust
Yeah.
given to the aircraft carrier? By propellers?
Yeah,
And how many did you have?
we had 4.
4 propellers?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that sufficient?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any problems getting power to the,
No, we never had any problem. Everything was done as long as the man down below the lower level of the engine room, keeping an eye on the condenser and the water flow to make sure it never overflowed. And that kept everything going along fine.
you're talking about non-salt water?
Yeah.
Did you have any problems dealing with the salt
No,
water?
no, none at all.
And when you talk about condensers, are you talking about the salt water being condensed to fresh water?
That's right.
You had condensers
Yeah.
aboard to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't have any problem with water?
No, never had any problem with water.
Okay.
The biggest problem was keeping our engines going and supplying enough power for the ship and everything aboard the ship.
Okay. And so far as let's go back to where you got on the Bonhomme Richard after your boot camp.
Yeah.
After boot camp, did you go into any specialized training?
After boot camp, no. After boot camp was over, there was no specialized training.
You went directly to the Bonhomme Richard?
Directly, right. It came home for a week's leave. And, yeah, when your week was up, you said goodbye to the family and everything, then you were taken by train out to California.
And when you got aboard the Bonhomme Richard, who taught you how to run all those generators and machines and
The
stuff?
chief petty officer and the lieutenant.
And your rank there was?
Well, at that time, it was fireman first class.
Okay. And
Then I became machinist mate second class, and going up the line.
okay.
But that was it. My biggest rank was when I switched over to the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the Navy for a while. When you pulled into Pearl Harbor,
Yeah,
this would have been somewhere around 1943, right?
yeah.
What did you notice about Pearl Harbor?
Oh, God. All the havoc that was done by the Japanese aircraft and what they had done to the beautiful Pearl Harbor was just,
This was 2 years after.
yeah.
And had we been able to clear up any of that?
Well, at the time that I was in there, I didn't have much time to roam around. I was mostly resigned to the ship. There wasn't too much that I could do. It's just that one weekend later on in life, after back in '45, that's where I met George Nelson in Honolulu. So everything was all right then, see.
Yeah. But you saw the devastation there?
Oh, yes. And not realizing if I was into real estate, I could have got a home for nothing over there.
Really?
Now it costs $2 million a
Oh, my
piece.
God.
Imagine that?
Go ahead.
Yeah. And
Were you able to get aboard, were you able to go
a short distance,
offshore?
offshore, just for the evening.
Yeah.
That was, we had to get back to the ship before 1800 hours.
Every day?
Well, whenever we were there, mostly for a weekend. That was the most.
So you would
And then we
sleep
had to
aboard
go
the
out
ship?
and join the task force.
You'd sleep aboard the ship?
Oh, yeah.
Where did you get fed?
We got fed in a board ship.
Aboard ship?
Yeah.
I see. So they didn't have any facilities at the base for you there?
No, we never ate at the base. If you wanted something to eat, like sandwiches or a restaurant, they had a few facilities like that at your convenience. But mostly it was patrolled by the MPs and to keep an eye on things to make sure there wasn't more sabotage involved in it or anything else like that. They had a strict curfew there.
They were worried about sabotage till even
Oh, yes.
They were. Okay. How long were you in Pearl Harbor?
Not long. Mostly, whenever we pulled in there, we were there for a week. Just
one
about
week.
a week. And we got our supplies and everything else, and there was no hesitation about that to move out again.
Tell me, how was the harbors? Was the harbor blocked by any of the ships that had been sunk?
No, that was all taken care of.
And
We had no problem about that.
the ships were off to the side? Okay.
Mostly to the, on our carrier, it was off to the side. Occasionally, we anchored right close to the,
Okay. Hold on just a minute, Joe.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have you leaving Pearl Harbor after short visits there
Yeah,
to fuel up and
yeah.
get supplies.
And
And then where did you go after that? Did you generally reconnoiter around there, or did you have a specific place to go?
and then we had the big battle there at, going up towards the Philippines. And we survived that there, and then,
You went to the Philippines from Pearl Harbor?
well, we went to the Philippines and, to Pearl Harbor, from Pearl Harbor to the Philippines. And then we were engaged in battle over there with the Japanese fleet. And we kicked the shit out of them there. And then things got a lot better as the year went by and everything else. And
Do you recall any specific battles that you were engaged in?
well, I'm trying to think of, you got to help me along in this one
Okay.
big battle we were in.
How about the Marianas Turkey Shoot?
No, that was
Or how about
no, there was a bigger battle than that.
Wake Island, Saipan,
No, that-
Tarawa?
No, that was
Okay.
there was one. I'd have to get that on my.
Battle of the Philippine Sea?
Yeah, well, we were in a battle. I told you we were in engagement out there,
Yeah.
and there was another big battle. Opera Harbor, was it?
Um,
No.
Well, we can amend this later on.
Yeah.
But you were aboard an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Were you at all, you all have a chance to see aircraft taking off and landing and?
No.
You were always in the engine room.
I was always down the engine room.
How did you feel while the battle was going on?
Well, I was just saying a little prayer every time that I went down below down to my job as a seaman, down to the engine room. The Marine Corps guard above there locked you down there.
You couldn't get out?
You couldn't get out till the captain said abandon ship.
Really?
That's right. He had the Marine Corps guard had a 45 that was above the hatchway there, the little round tube they put down there. And
Was it
you
pretty,
didn't-
how
you
was it
didn't-
pretty hot? Were the conditions down there?
It was hot enough.
Yeah. But you were able to
Yeah,
survive okay?
we survived on it, yeah.
And plus the fact that you were quite young and small, and you
Yeah.
were able to fit around all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We walked around and kept always on our toes.
And how's the food aboard ship?
Very good.
You didn't have any
When I
problem?
say very good, it was very good under the conditions that we were, well, usually on combat conditions, there were times when I had to serve time down in combat conditions, 18 hours sometimes. And then I had to get a relief to come down and go up. But the food conditions were sandwiches or stuff like that there, pick up, but it was all right.
But you had no problems with food?
No problem at all. The food aboard ship that, when we weren't in combat, was very good.
Tell me about any damage that the Bonhomme Richard sustained.
Well, there was no damage to sustain. We had I'm trying to think of how many Jap planes we shot down, and how many ships that we shot. I think the Japanese planes that were shot down by the Bonhomme Richard was 17 at the time, as I left the Navy. It was 17. The Essex carrier was the biggest one. The Essex carrier had 123 of them.
This is a Japanese plane shot down from the
Shot
ship
down,
itself?
Yeah.
Okay. How about, do you have any idea as to how many were shot down by the carrier-based planes above the Bonhomme Richard?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
What they were shot down by the carrier planes.
Yeah. How many, did we lose any?
Huh?
Did
We
we-
lost a few.
We lost a few? Okay, but you never actually saw or interacted with
No,
the pilots?
I never had the chance to, never had a chance to join in and looking at the fun.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't fun at the time, but you see, at the time with why they built the 20 millimeter guns along the side of the carrier, because the Japanese planes would come down low and go to hit the carrier on the side.
I see.
So, the brilliancy of the people, military, had all 20 millimeter guns packed along both sides, the starboard and the port side. So when the plane come in, they got whacked with the 20 millimeter, see?
That was the difficulty of kamikaze getting into the side of the ship.
That's right.
And you thank your lucky stars for that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
When you were when you were actually involved in a battle,
Yeah,
how was it down the engine room? Pretty noisy?
pretty noisy. Yeah.
But you just kept on your job and,
Just kept on the job and paid attention to what the hell's going on down there. And that was the main thing.
just
Main thing is checking out, make sure everything was going
keep
right.
the engine running?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with all of that experience,
Yeah.
when Korea came up, you opted to go back?
No, I didn't opt to go back in the Navy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back in the Navy, because I didn't like the idea of, who the hell knows, of being hit by kamikaze planes again
Yeah.
at that time. And I got seasick too often, too.
Yeah.
But finally, as the year went by, or 2 years went by, or 3 years, I finally got accustomed to the rock and roll of the carrier and survived all that.
Now, when you after your battles in and around the Philippines,
Yeah.
tell us something about what happened after.
Guam, Opera Harbor, Guam, yeah.
You went into Guam?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How was
Guam.
it?
Guam was pretty good,
It was.
yeah.
When were you there?
I think it was Guam, just the latter part of 43, 44, just about that time.
What did you do? Resupply there?
No, we didn't, we never resupplied there. Most of the time on fuel, we had enough food aboard the ship, but sometimes when it was critical, we had to refuel by the tankers that were out there with the task force.
And you had fuel tenders that were.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so far as food is concerned,
We had plenty of that
you had
aboard
plenty of
ship.
food.
Yeah,
Yeah. And how's the medical service?
very good,
You had
very good.
surgical rooms?
Oh, yes.
Doctors?
They had surgical rooms, and they did a great job.
Did you notice any of the combat casualties come aboard the carrier for service?
Well, on a carrier, mostly it would be the pilots. Uh, Sometimes crash landed, of which they crash landed aboard our carrier when they were coming in for a landing. The hook would go up there and catch the plane, and there are times when the plane would topple on the side of it and survive the crash and everything else. They did a great job aboard. I never had much chance to see what was going on topside.
Yeah, but you know they had some good.
Oh,
good
yeah,
facilities.
they had some casualty.
Yeah, yeah. And, but they took care of their own casualties.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. They, in emergency situations, they usually held off till we got back to Pearl. If it was really serious, it was flown back to Pearl Harbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you say you went to Guam.
Yeah, Opera Harbor.
Did you have an opportunity to mix with the local people?
I never got to see land aboard the Guam.
Really? You still stayed aboard the ship?
Still stayed aboard the ship.
That must have been a huge ship for you.
Yeah.
All right, and then where did
Well,
you
that
go?
was Essex type, 28,000 tons, 3,000 guys.
Really?
So that was the text of what we had.
How did you feel about service?
I loved it.
You did?
I loved it. Due to the conditions, what they had done to Pearl Harbor, and the people that we lost there, and this is one of the things that I was really perturbed about, was when they bombed 9/11 there, when 4,000 people got killed there,
Yeah, that's right.
and 2,000 at Pearl Harbor.
Isn't
Without any hesitation, in my way of thinking, is they should have dropped the H-bomb right away on knowing who it was, without any doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Of course, it's a little different these days. We have to love our enemies, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have
Oh,
to
yeah, we have-
educate them and democratize them.
This is why I say if I was in charge in Iraq there, you or anybody else, you'd have 50 tanks and have a curfew about 5 o'clock, and if anybody was out at that time, blow them away.
Yeah.
Because they got no regard to their life. They commit suicide and kill how many of our guys without any hesitation, and it would be under honor. They would never live to see the honor.
Yes.
But the idea, you can understand what's happening with Israel and Palestine. It's
Right.
been going on, peace treaties. It never work out. It's just that they keep committing to peace treaties. Children, women, and men getting killed, just like they did at 9/11.
Now, after Guam, where did you go?
After Guam, well, we joined the task force again, going up to Saipan, and Saipan and the Philippines.
Were you involved in the Battle of Saipan?
Oh, yes,
You were.
yeah.
Did you meet any Armenians?
Well, the only Armenian I met aboard ship was well, after the war was over.
Uh-huh.
There was a young man that, when we pulled into San Diego there, that there was an Armenian kid from Dorchester.
Really?
My chief petty officer says to me, I got a rug bunch for you.
Really?
I said, when you get new recruits, let me know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How'd you get along? Okay?
Oh, yeah, he was a nice kid.
Yeah. Okay, so you were involved in the Battle of Saipan.
Yeah.
Tell us something about that.
Well, not much I could tell you about it.
Oh, you were just down in the engine room.
I was down in the engine room. Just praying to God to get us through this,
Really?
like the rest of the guys. And to go through this all in combat, we always had the officer by the escape hatch that nobody would go up to the escape hatch and jump overboard or anything else like that.
Anybody ever try?
No, nobody ever tried it. If we were condemned, we were all condemned down there.
So far as the kamikaze is concerned, when did you first come into? When did you first know about the kamikaze?
The kamikaze, when we went to get supplies in Pearl Harbor, when I got a real outlook of it, what they did to the Franklin.
Uh-huh.
And they were still carrying the bodies off the Franklin at Pearl Harbor. And I had a good friend of mine aboard the Franklin, was Freddie Nelson from Watertown. and he was blown over the side of the ship. He was in the water for 2 hours before a DE picked him up. And the captain said to the men later on, whoever jumped overboard was a deserter. Imagine that.
Yeah, yeah. Are you saying that there were kamikazes at Pearl Harbor?
No, no. When the Franklin was in a combat with us,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to think of was it Coral Sea or one of the, I got all that information at home for you.
Okay. But
See?
sometime between Pearl Harbor and you're reaching the Philippines,
Yeah.
you ran into the kamikaze.
Oh, we ran into the kamikaze. They were never fortunate after we got the word from our men that would tell us about the combat up topside and everything else. They would tell us about what happened, how close. The closest the kamikaze got to our carrier was, say, about 50 yards.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And those 20-millimeter
You know,
guns?
well, the fortunate part about that is where they had the 5-inch 50s and the 40 millimeters on the aft end of the ship and the forward part of the ship.
Right.
When you had those 5-inch 50s and everything else going on,
It was pretty tough to get in.
pretty tough to get in, plus the planes protecting us.
Over how long a period of time did you encounter the kamikazes?
Oh, it was like a day-long experience.
But this was this just a one-time attack, or was it continual kamikaze attacks?
Well, it was a one-time attack at that time. It was a one-time big engagement,
Yeah,
and that was it. That was with the kamikazes.
okay.
But we were always watchful for any other minor attacks, as far as I knew.
I see. So,
But we were always with the task force, Greg, and we never, I never knew too much about what the hell was going on the top side anyway.
yeah,
None of us did down below the engine.
you were hardly ever topside.
Never topside.
And you didn't grumble?
The only
or-
time we went to topside is when we went to Pearl Harbor.
Uh-huh. Now, where did you sleep?
Oh, we had to come back to the ship to sleep.
Topside?
Huh?
Topside? You
No,
slept
we slept down below.
You slept in the engine room?
No, they had rooms below, I think it was the third deck down.
Uh-huh.
We had a room over there. I think 99% of the men I never knew. We were just like that card room,
Yeah.
not even big as, and six bunks piled high when they're strapped up. When you strap them up and they go sideways up against the bars, and so that nobody in there, they were all in combat condition. And when we left for combat condition, then the bunks were all tied up, and then when we got back, you unstrapped your bunk and you lay down and took a nap.
How long did it take you to get from your bunk to your engine room?
Oh, not long. It'd take about, they had the Marine Corps guard bring us right down there, about 10 minutes, not even that.
Did you have elevators?
Huh?
Did you have elevators in the aircraft carrier?
No. We had elevators, yeah.
Yeah.
We had the big elevators, the aft end of the ship, to take the planes down for repairs or anything.
But not
Well,
for personnel?
No, we didn't have elevators for personnel. We had the steps.
I see.
Yeah.
So it took you about 10 minutes to get to your...
Well, it was on, the beauty of that was it was on our level. The engine room was down on my level, the third deck down, see.
Okay, all right. So, what happened after Saipan? Did you ever get off the ship at Saipan?
No,
You never saw
none
the
of the islands.
devastation?
Just, the only island that we got off the ship was that we were called for volunteers to go aboard the Philippines to bring the wounded, because they needed some help aboard the wounded, bring aboard our ship.
Did you volunteer?
Yeah, of course I did.
Where'd you go?
When we went up to the land, and we had one of the POWs in the carrier, it brought tears to my eyes what they had done to him. And when they had the prisoners, the Japanese prisoners over there, the guy said, there he is right there. And my buddy and I said, we'll take care of that for you. And that's the picture I got there that's worth $1 million to me. We chopped off his fucking head. And we held it in front of him, just make you happy, and he started crying.
So you went to help bring American prisoners
That's right.
back to the ship,
Yeah,
right? Okay, and these prisoners told you of some of
the
the
atrocities.
atrocities that they committed
Yeah.
against them?
What they used to do, one of the atrocities was, they used to stick a bamboo stick up their ass
Really?
and let the rats run right up it.
Oh, my God.
That was one of them.
Yeah. Now, where was this prisoner of war camp?
Oh, it was in the Philippines, way back in the,
Leyte, Mindanao, or?
no, it was in the Philippines. It was, we were right at the shore of the Philippines.
Yeah.
And when we went there, we had to be close to the shoreline because they brought the wounded all up there, see.
Yeah. How many wounded were you, how many prisoners of war were you able to accommodate on the
Well,
carrier?
we brought aboard our carrier, close to 30. Yeah,
And how big was the camp,
but camp.
the concentration camp?
Oh, I don't know
You
that.
know, no idea.
No idea.
They were happy to see
We
you.
were still, we couldn't go sightseeing.
They were happy to see you.
We were still at the conditions of war at that time.
Okay. What happened after that?
What happened after that?
After you went to the Philippines, where'd you go?
After we went to the Philippines, after that there, we took a trip back to our beautiful Pearl Harbor for a week and checked everything out for the ship, what they needed for supplies, what they needed for fuel and ammo and everything else. I think there was at one point they were pretty low on ammo, the ammo they used in the combat there. So.
Now, this would have been in 1944,
Yeah,
okay? And,
45.
45,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Where
think
were
it
you,
was- yeah.
where were you when the A-bomb was dropped?
Oh, the A-bomb, I wasn't, where was I?
That would have been in August of 45.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I was.
Would you be in Pearl?
No, I wasn't in Pearl. We were aboard our carrier, helping out MacArthur and his men and everything else.
Where's that?
At the Philippines mostly,
Yeah.
and,
Did you actually see the general?
excuse me?
Did you actually see General MacArthur?
Did I actually
Yeah.
see him?
Yeah.
No, I didn't actually see him.
Yeah.
I got a beautiful picture of him. One of my photographers took up above, going back when we went back there, waiting aboard shore. I'll bring it into your shore there.
Uh-huh. So, the most of your time aboard ship was down in the engine room.
Down the engine.
Okay. And when you came back from World War II,
Yeah.
you were discharged?
No, I wasn't discharged.
You stayed
I
in the
was-
reserve?
I was, well, they asked me if I wanted to, I served my time in 46, and they said, yeah, what do you want to do? You want to join the reserves? Yeah, I said, join the reserves.
That was 46.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I joined the reserves, and when Korea broke out in 50, they asked me, I got a letter from the government, the U.S. Naval Department, we want you back in the Navy, see?
Yeah.
And I went to the Marine Corps, and I said, help me out here. I said, I don't want to go back I had my papers with me, and I don't want to go back in the Navy. And I showed them the paper, we'll take care of it.
Why didn't you want to go back to the Navy?
I didn't like the ocean.
You still got a little seasick once in a
Yeah,
while.
I didn't like the ocean.
Okay.
I figured if I'm going to get hit, I'm going to die on land, not underneath with the sharks.
Okay. So, tell us, when you joined the Marines, where did you go from there?
From the Marines, from Busan, I joined my outfit at Inji, and got to know the men and all around.
What was your rank when you joined the Marines?
When I joined the Marines, I was a sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you say you went to Busan?
We landed at Busan.
Did you have any
Top
special...
Paper Village, we called it.
Top Paper Village. Did you have any special training in the Marines before you
Oh,
went to
yes,
Busan?
we had.
What did you
We
do?
had, we went, after Paracel, we went to Camp Pendleton, California, combat training.
And what kind of training did you
Well,
receive?
we had mostly military infantry training,
Uh-huh.
and realizing at that moment that I knew what we were in for because I had a brother in the infantry in World War II, and told me a lot about it. And I was saying, keep your ass up and your head down, and you'll be all right. Mostly the training was what they did to us is you'd crawl along so many yards, and they'd have barbed wire here, and they blew up explosions. While that was going on, they were firing live ammo over your head by machine guns at the other end of the end. And the first words they said is, don't stand up because you're dead.
Really?
Yeah. When you got to the area where you could get clear without being hurt or anything else like that, it was bad enough if you got anywhere near like this circle area here, like a square, where they had the explosives in there. If you were anywhere near that, it blew dirt all over you, see?
So you were taught.
It was explosive, but there wasn't enough in there to hurt you.
Uh-huh.
It was just the idea that you had to go through all this. And then you had to go through, at that time, Greg, they had a new gas out. They had a gas out that, we wore gas masks and had the tear gas training and all that. And then after the tear gas training, when your eyes were really watering and blowing smoke up your ass,
Yeah.
then they told us about this new gas out. You always have your gas mask. You can't see it, you can't smell it, and the only way that you know that's around, if you saw little pimples on a leaf. And I said, well, what if you're not around any trees? How the hell are you going to tell? He says, well, then kiss your ass goodbye.
So was there talk that the North Koreans were employing gas?
Well, there was talk about it.
Yeah.
There was talk about employing the gas. And they just wanted you to have the gas mask right with you all the time in combat training.
So we've always had gas mask training, haven't we?
Oh, yes, yes.
In this recent
Yeah.
business with...
Oh, yes. It's so dangerous that our beautiful people over here don't realize what's going on in the whole world today, because they're not telling us everything that they know.
Right.
See? And what I referred to you before, what I said to you before, and I said to a lot of my guys, and I guess I'm pretty smart at this, that North Korea is still our worst enemy.
Yes.
It's still our worst enemy. I said, they're the ones to worry about.
Yes.
Them and China.
I know.
Oh, you know, huh?
Yeah, I know. Remember, I'm a Korean era vet, too.
Huh?
Okay, I'm a Korean era vet,
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Only not actually over there.
Yeah,
I was never in Korea.
that's
Okay.
all right.
So, after your training with the Marines, where did you go in California? Where did you go?
Well,
You went to Busan,
yeah,
and you went to this place called Inji.
Angie and
Where is that in
Honshu,
relationship?
way up north.
Way up north.
Angie is halfway going towards North Korea.
Would that be north of Seoul?
See? Yeah.
Yeah. So, you went all the way up into North Korea.
Yeah?
Do you feel that was a mistake on the part of General MacArthur?
No. No, I don't think so.
Was were your lines of supply stretched rather thin?
A little bit, but it got to the point that we had them on the run. At that time, where I met Chesty Puller, we became very good friends, God bless him. He had died,
Yeah.
and I met him before that, and the word was sent out on my papers there, keep an eye on this guy, for what I've done. As to tell you, I don't like to talk about my affairs. I have a picture I was on machine gun watch, and that was on across the Inja River, and keep an eye out on our troops. And we got attacked by the North Koreans, and then I had 15 other guys above me, and I asked for help and come down. See,
Really?
I had the. It's a good thing I had the canister of bullets, and I had it all locked in, the machine gun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too many North Koreans.
Would you say that we were overrun? Were there more people over there than we had?
Oh,
We were outnumbered?
of course we
Yeah.
were outnumbered. And, there was a time when they used to have this they used to holler out they used to mostly attack till late at night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And they say, American, you die. I said, not tonight. Not tonight. Come and get it.
How did you feel about being outnumbered?
Well, I felt a little bit scared, and couldn't understand why we didn't have more men over there. But what saved our ass is I had the pleasure of meeting Ted Williams over there when the first time I got hit. I was aboard the hospital ship Repose, and when I was going back to the line, waiting for a helicopter to fly me back up, there was Ted Williams there, and the guy, there's Ted Williams. I should have got his autograph.
Really?
I shook his hand, and I said, it's so great to have you over here, Ted. He wished me nothing but the best.
So, you say that you have 3 Purple Hearts,
Yeah.
a Bronze Star, and a
Yeah.
Silver Star.
That-
Take
that-
us through some of that, and
Yeah.
tell us which came first.
The first one that came true was the Bronze Star.
Where
Well,
was
the
that?
Purple Heart, that came true. But the Bronze Star came later after the commendations I got.
Okay.
And then on this
What
last,
was the first Bronze Star for?
huh?
What was the Bronze Star for?
Action and service.
Where?
Huh?
Where?
Where was it? Up
Yeah.
at Honshu.
At Honshu.
Yeah.
Now Honshu, I recognize Honshu as being the name of the Japanese main island.
I don't give a shit what it was.
But, but Honshu is a place in Korea, you say?
That's right.
I
Going
see.
up towards, right up on the 38 parallel.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Describe the conditions there.
The conditions there that we found out, how they were getting into South Korea, they were digging tunnels. And that was the best way they'd get into South Korea.
Really?
Dig the tunnels. You can't imagine how many tunnels they built to get into South Korea.
And they still have them today?
They still have them today,
Right.
without a doubt in my mind.
What did you use to identify where these tunnels were? Any Okay,
Okay? Got a medical discharge,
okay.
and finally was allowed a 2-week leave, well, when I got my medical discharge to go home.
Uh-huh.
But my whole family was so happy to see me.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like it was like being born again.
Really?
And I was happy to see my dad again.
How did your father, how was your family, how did your
Oh,
family
my
feel about it?
father was so proud of me. 'Cause
Hold on just a minute. Okay,
you're the only one that could do that. And
okay,
what else? And
all
to-
right.
To be back at home is something else. It was
Uh-huh.
one of the happiest moments of my life. And I say a prayer for all our guys in the service, and still do today. And the greatest thing that I try to get a lot of my guys to remember at the end, and I mean this with all my heart,
Yeah,
is to work along together and help each other out, because it doesn't cost anything to say, hi, how's everything this morning? Is there anything I can do? Can I do a favor for you, or something like that?
yeah.
That's what our life was all about, because I remember the hard days of my life in 1931, 33, 34, keep going.
Yeah.
And the people were so good to each other, the mothers and fathers and cousins and friends that lived next door. And if anybody was sick in the house, they wouldn't hesitate 1 minute to come over and take care of the children, send them to
Yeah.
school. And this is what I was taught, and this is what I try to.
This is what we should instill in our present society.
That's,
This is what we should be doing,
that's right,
isn't that right?
without a doubt.
So, you
Whatever.
had your 3 Purple Hearts, Bronze Star, Silver Star.
Yeah.
You came back after being mortared in Korea.
And then,
You arrived by way of Pearl Harbor,
yeah,
And at the Oakland Naval Hospital, were you flown or did you come aboard ship?
Huh? No, I was flown.
You were flown to Oakland Naval Hospital?
Flown to Oakland.
And they gave you some pretty good medical treatment there?
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, and then from there, you came back to Watertown, did you?
Huh? Oh, yeah. My family was living in Watertown.
And did you receive continual treatment here
Oh, yeah.
while you were here?
Yeah.
And you still do to this day, is that right? Yeah, yeah. Now, what, you, at that point, weren't a member of the Marsupial Post?
No,
Because it hadn't even been started yet.
I can't, I'm trying to think of when I joined. I remember when they were talking about, Medanian, I think was it before I left, about the Masubian Post.
Yeah,
And it was just great. It was the nicest thing that anybody that's an Armenian veteran or any veteran that be allowed to join our posts.
yeah.
No,
So when, any idea when you did join?
no, it's been quite a few years,
It has,
yeah.
yeah.
And